Welcome, Wargamers. Doug here with another Path to Glory review. Today we are talking about the Orruk Warclans. Now, I have had this book for a bit, as well as the Maggotkin book. I decided to go with the White Dwarf releases earlier, just because I didn't want to miss the magazines, basically. But these books have been out, and they do have very compelling Path to Glory rules of their own, and so we're going to explore them today. Keep in mind, if you are new to this faction, Orruk Warclans is sort of a broad book that encompasses 4 different armies. The Big Waaagh, which is all orcs combined, Ironjaws, Cruel Boys, and Bone Splitters, and the Path to Glory system has to be able to accommodate all of them. Now, I will say up front, if any part of this interests you, please check out my affiliate link down below for Noble Knight Games here in the US. They're a fantastic store with lots of discounts on GW products. They ship within 48 hours, and I've just had great experiences with them, and they seem like great people. All the interactions that I've ever had. So go ahead and check those out. It goes a long way to supporting me as a content creator, as well as getting you the cool things you want at a discount price. And when we do these kinds of videos, essentially what we're going to do is walk through the allegiance abilities of a given faction, although in this case, again, there's 4 different armies, so we're probably going to be light on that. And then have a discussion about the actual Path to Glory section itself, and I'll reference the allegiance abilities that are relevant for each army as we go. So with all that out of the way, let's go to the downward cam and check it out. Okay, so here we are at the downward cam. I rigged up my fancy, nice new 4K camera, so hopefully that is looking good for us. And we're going to flip straight past the army sections because there's so much to cover for all the various different sub-factions. And so we're going to go straight into the Path to Glory. Here we go. So let me just read in here. Let's see. When you choose the Orruk Warclans faction for your Path to Glory army, you must choose what type of Orruk Warclan army it will be. An Orruk Warclans army cannot change its type during its Path to Glory campaign. And so basically you're doing the Big Waaagh, what is it? Big Waaagh, Cruel Boys, Bone Splitters, and Ironjaws. You have to pick there and lock yourself into those choices, which ultimately I think is a good thing. In step 7 of the Aftermath, gathering the Big Waaagh. So this is sort of their core rules here. In step 7 of the Aftermath sequence, you can add Orruk Warclan units to your order of battle even if they do not have the keyword associated with the type of Orruk Warclan's army. So for example, if you have a Cruel Boys army, you can add Ironjaws and Bone Splitters units to your order of battle. In Path to Glory, these units are referred to as a rival Warclan unit. So we're introducing a new concept. You have to lock yourself into a particular one, but that's going to determine your spell lores and your allegiance abilities and that kind of stuff. But as the campaign goes on, you're adding other forces. And if you're not sure why this is the way it is thematically, it's because essentially as orcs get more fighty and they kind of cause a bigger ruckus, other orcs, regardless of their type of subspecies, like Cruel Boy or Ironjaw, will flock to wherever the fight's happening because it's fun, basically. And so that's a cool idea. There's a little side note here. I just want to read it off real quick. Rival Warclans, meaning any unit that you add like this, can be given enhancements from the appropriate enhancements table in this book. So for example, if your Orruk Warclans army, your core army, is Cruel Boys, and there's a mega boss on your order of battle, that mega boss can be given an artifact of power from the boss's horde table. So everyone gets to bring their own cool things into this mix. Okay, so that's just, I wanted to throw that out there. So we have rival Warclan units. If there are any rival Warclan units on your order of battle, they can only be included in your army in battles fought against their Path to Glory army. Makes perfect sense, otherwise you would mess up the whole allegiance abilities, math. The number of rival Warclan units that can be included in your army is determined by the tier of battle. So this just basically means how far along on this Path to Glory campaign are you. If you're at the lower end where you're playing with like 600 to 1,000 points, going against someone with a larger roster, you could basically get more free stuff. I like that quite a bit. Keep in mind, you're still paying points for these things. Like, you can just add them later is all it says. So, I mean, it's a great way if you are interested in a specific type of orc to pepper in some other stuff. I like that quite a bit. And it's thematic. As that one warlord gets bigger, all of a sudden everything just kind of gets crazy. So that's the gathering of the Big Waaagh. The next thing is the calling of the Big Waaagh. When fighting a higher tier Path to Glory battle, meaning you're on the back foot, you have a smaller force than they do, before deployment, you can call the Big Wall. If you do so, you must spend 1 glory point for each rival war clan in your army. So that's if you take any of these guys, spend a point for them. When you call the Big Wall, your army uses the following allegiance abilities in addition to any other allegiance abilities it uses. And it gives you all the stuff from the Big Wall allegiance ability. So you get the venom-encrusted weapons from Cruel Boys, Mighty Destroyers from Iron Jaws, War Paint from the Bone Splitters, the Power of the Wall, and here we go. A lot of cool stuff there. Essentially, you're just looking at a bigger fight, trying to get everyone as just pumped for battle as possible. And lastly here is ransacking territories. When you make an exploration roll on a 61 through 66, this is normally where other factions have like their special terrain, you can pick a territory from the Orruk Warclans territories table on page 98. Perfect. These territories work differently than other ones in Path to Glory. Firstly, you do not spend any glory points to control them. You do so automatically. Let's pause there. That's a huge glory points sink, is buying territories and upgrading them. They're not at all. Very interesting. Okay. Secondly, these territories cannot be upgraded. Instead, they can be ransacked. In order to ransack a territory, you must complete the ransack quest on page 96, or win a major victory when playing the Tornado of Destruction battle plan. If you choose to ransack a territory in step 6 of the Aftermath sequence, pick one territory you control, follow the instructions table for ransacking it on the Orruk Warclans table, then remove the territory from your roster. Okay. Pick one territory you control, follow the instructions for ransacking it on the Orc Territories table. Where is that at? On the Orc Territories table. Okay. Yes, so if you roll a D66, if you roll a, yeah. Now what I like here is this is a fundamentally different way of approaching your order of battle. For everybody else, getting territories and upgrading them is really, really important because it just determines what kind of things that you can have. For the orcs, you are basically making the choice with every territory. Am I going to ransack this? Or do I want to keep it and hold it? Because that way it can affect how many wizards you can bring or, whatever. So it's a constant game of just determining what territories you need and then having a few extras that you can ransack to get extra benefits. It's very interesting because this creates a situation where they have glory points to spend, like in a big way. They can really upgrade their keep or whatever, like they call the fortress or whatever your main location is. They can upgrade that very, very quickly and hopefully get a ton more terrain. The balancing factor here is a little bit strange when it comes to getting them for free when everybody else has to pay 10 glory is incredibly good. Then again, you're going to be suffering casualty scores like a mamma jamma because all these guys are made out of like tissue paper, with the exception of some of the Iron Jaw stuff. But like I was saying, it's a very interesting one. I've heard some folks say that like they're struggling with runaway leads in terms of glory points. But of course, Path to Glory is not about who gets the most glory points. It's about battles over time. And so if you can spend them on upgrading your fortress or adding new units, that's kind of the idea I think they're going for. They just didn't want you to have a whole orc empire of multiple locations. Instead, they wanted you to focus, instead of on building, on just moving forward into battle. I'm not sure if it really landed, but that I think was their intention. But let's skip to the territories thing, okay? So we're going to, when you make an exploration roll on a 61 through 66, you can pick a territory from the Orruk Warclans table instead. So let's check those out, just because we're talking territories and relevant things. So the first one is a Duartene Mine. In step 1 of the Aftermath sequence, roll a dice. On a 4-up, you receive 1 glory point. In addition, keep a tally of how deep the mine goes. The tally starts at 0, and you must add D3 to the tally in each step 6 of the subsequent Aftermath sequences. Record the tally on your roster. So it's just a passive thing. Step 1 of the Aftermath sequence, you gain a glory point on a 4-up, and then you're just keeping track of how deep it goes. Got it. And if you choose to ransack it, You receive d6 glory points plus a number of glory points equal to the territory's tally. So if you're up to 9 on those d3s and you ransack it, you get d6 plus 9 glory points. Pretty crazy. And this is the thing that was sent in to me asking questions about this, because again, these are just more ways of getting crazy awesome glory points things. Now, it is tempered by the fact that you have to roll a 61 through 66 to be able to get these, but essentially, yeah, you're just trading glory. Okay. Next one is Human Settlement. This territory has no effect until it's ransacked, which I don't typically like, but I feel like ransacking is the most thematic thing that orcs are going to do, so maybe I can have some leeway for that. But essentially it says, this ransack, you receive 2d6 glory points. If the last Path to Glory battle you fought with this army used the siege warfare rules, and you were the attacker, you receive 3d6 instead. So that's a very specific thing. It might be kind of cool if you and your local group knew that you wanted to end everything on a giant siege battle. That'd be kind of cool, but it's very specific. Next is the Elf Shrine. In step 3 of the Aftermath sequence, you can pick one unit on your order of battle to be sent to this territory to deface it. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 4+, that unit gains 1 renown point and you receive 1 glory. However, on a 1, that unit must either make an injury roll or have its casualty score increased by 1. I don't really care for these things. I don't want to take a unit out of action in between games. Ransack, you receive 2d6 glory points. In addition, pick one unit in your order of battle. They gain d6 renown points, because they were the ones that set the shrine on fire. I would take that every single time. Just immediately ransack it. Just take the glory and get some renown. Done. Sold. Next is City of the Dead. This territory has no effect until it's ransacked. If you ransack it, you receive 3d6 glory points. In addition, pick one hero on your order of battle that is not your warlord. That hero gains 15 renown. It's rad. I mean, you have plenty of low-level heroes that you can crank up to get a command ability or something. So I see potential in that one for sure. Next is the Chaos Dreadhold. In step 7 of the Aftermath sequence, you can pick one hero on your order of battle to be sent to this territory to convince the Mega Gargant to join you. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 1, that hero is eaten and is removed from your order of battle as they were killed. On a 2 through 5, nothing happens. On a 6, you can add one Mega Gargant to your order of battle without spending any glory points. Yeah, you know, man, if you already got a Mega Gargant just sitting there and you have a bunch of really crappy heroes, if you just have a whole bunch of, what are they called, War Docs, and you're like, yeah, I could spare a guy to roll in there. Sure, it's very specific and requires a model that's over $100. Nah. Ransack, you receive 4d6 glory points. There is a Mega Gargant on your order of battle. You receive 5d6 instead. So I like this one, the way it's written, not mainly for its first effect. It's kind of a very weird and roundabout way just to add a Mega Gargant. But I do like the ransack thing of, glory points are always good, 46 is great. But I like the idea of if you were someone who has a Mega Gargant and you didn't want to go through all this rigmarole and you were just like, I just want to bring it in my order of battle. Well, you can buy the Mega Gargant. Sure, it's expensive glory point wise, but you're making 5d6 back when you do this because he's now already on your roster. I think that's a way better way to add a Mega Gargant than going through all of this with a hero that you might lose. Personal opinion, let me know your thoughts in the chat. Down at the bottom here, Realm Gate. You can only control one territory of this type at a time. When setting up terrain in a Path to Glory battle against another Path to Glory army, if you can set up faction terrain, you can instead set up one Realm Gate, wholly within your territory. Pause. I love it. I'm already on board. Once per battle in your hero phase, a friendly unit wholly within 6 inches of the Realm Gate can step through it. If they do so, remove that unit from the battlefield and set it up as a reserve unit, and at the end of your movement phase, you can set it up anywhere on the battlefield, wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge and more than 9 from enemy units. So I like this one because not all of the sub-factions for Warclans, I call them sub-factions. They are full allegiances, so Bone Splitters, Iron Jaws, or they don't all have the same tricks. So, for example, like, I believe it's the Iron Jaws have a way of teleporting units up the board. The Cruel Boys have some dodgy stuff, but the Bone Splitters have nothing. Like, they can increase their movement distance, but that's different than a teleport. So, taking a unit of these guys, you know, throwing them into your reserve pool and then bringing them somewhere else, that has effectiveness that, particularly for like Big Waw or Bone Splitters, I think is there. For the other two, I don't think they're going to care as much. The Cruel Boys might like this quite a bit, but Iron Jaws, I feel like, already have better ways of doing these kinds of same things, so whatever. Over here on the right, we have our heroic upgrades, and this is the chart that I've really enjoyed, where it makes it feel like a true progression, where you start with one hero, and then if you have enough glory and renown, you can upgrade him to a different one. So, for example, an Orc Megaboss can go to a Megaboss on Maw Crusher. A Killaboss can go to a Killaboss on Corpse Ripper, and a Killaboss with a Stab Grot can become a Great Gnash Tooth. There should have been a way to turn a Wardock into a Wurgog Prophet. GW, what were you thinking? Let's talk quests. Next, we have a battle plan, because some of these things are relevant to the battle plans. First quest is Ransack. At the end of the Path to Glory battle, you complete this quest if you want a major victory. Period. I love it. Pick one territory that you control that can be ransacked and follow the instructions for ransacking it on the Orruk Warclans territories table. Then remove the territory from your roster. Let's see. My only thing with this is that it only matters with those 6 territories, right? Am I just not seeing something? Because it's only on an exploration roll of a 61 through 66 that you can get the Orruk Warclans territory, and those territories can't be upgraded, they can be sacked, but you do still acquire normal territories. And the same goes for points. So you are spending points on territories, just not on your territories, which is totally different. Okay, I'm sorry if someone already screamed that into the comments. It just took a second. I was doing a live stream and somebody asked a question about that, and I was getting jumbled because I was trying to read it like on air rather than this, which I can pause and stop and read and catch up. And so it was construed to me that they don't pay glory points for any territories. That is not my reading of this. They're still going to pay for the territories that do stuff like change their, you know, allowance of certain troop types and stuff like that. If I'm wrong, please tell me in the chat why, but I'm not seeing it. Everything here seems to be about ransacking these territories. So, well, I don't know. I'll see. I'll look forward to that one. The next one, Break the Beast. Pick one unit from your order of battle that has a mount, but does not have a mount enhancement. Pick one mount trait from the Choose Your Ride table. And this is one where you're just trying to earn a mount trait. Almost every book that has mount traits has one of these. I love it. Makes perfect sense. Then we have Quest Tornado of Destruction. At the end of each Path to Glory battle, add 1 quest point to the progress of your quest log if you want a minor victory, and add 3 points if you want a major victory. Once you've earned 3 or more quest points, you can fight the Path to Glory battles using the Tornado of Destruction battle plan, and if you win a major or minor victory there, then the quest is completed. The rewards are in the battle plan. So let's check it out. Tornado of Destruction. And so this mission, just to put it really, really simply, it's a very simple deployment. You can see here in the bottom left where it's half the table is orcs, half the table is the defenders or custodians, however they want to word it, this one. You have to have at least 6 pieces of terrain, and the whole goal is, are the orcs able to vandalize all the different pieces of terrain? So there are ways to vandalize terrain when it comes to having more models than your opponent, and through a spell that all of your wizards gain access to, which is cool because all of the different sub-factions of orcs actually have pretty good access to wizards if you think to bring them. I guess Iron Jaws are kind of the weakest in that regard, but they also have the bodies that they can just rush forward and vandalize them in person. The battle lasts 5 rounds. If the Orruk player wins a major victory, if all terrain features wholly within the Guardian's territory, so whatever the opponent is, have been vandalized. The Guardian wins a major victory if every unit in the Orruk army has been destroyed. So one of you wants to kill, and the other one just wants the terrain. Let's see, if neither player has won a major victory by the end of the 5th turn, the Orruk player wins a minor victory if at least half of the terrain features wholly within the Guardian's terrain, and that's how they get a minor. So what's also cool is that the Defender gains a new ability. At the start of the hero phase, the Guardian, I'm sorry, not Defender, can pick up to D3 friendly units wholly within 18 inches of their general. Till their next hero phase, those units cannot make normal moves, run, retreat, or charge moves, but they can add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by those units and save rolls that target those units. So basically you just ask a bunch of guys to castle up and be a wall, and I like that quite a bit. Especially when their whole mission is just to stop the orcs from getting near the terrain. Now, I'll be honest, it doesn't sound the most orky, right? If there's a whole army in front of you, they want to go kill the people. They don't worry about terrain, but I like the idea of trying to pull the army in different directions. And, you know, this obviously will force your opponent. They're not going to be a big blob like you normally see like in tournament play. They have to be, by nature of this mission, scattered around the terrain. So I think it will be pretty interesting. If not, at least entertaining. How about that? Path to Glory rewards. If the Orruk player wins the battle, they can ransack 1 territory they control. Cool. In addition, in Step 7 of the Aftermath sequence, they can add 1 new unit to their order of battle. That unit must be a rival Warclans unit. And you can get bonus renowned. Each unit on the battlefield gains 1 renown point. Okay, cool. Yeah, whoever lives. That's rad. The missions are so hit or miss. Either they really nail the thematic aspect of the army, or they're just kind of like, oh, that's an option I could do if I wanted. And the last one here is Monster Hunt for the quests. At the end of the Path to Glory battle, roll a dice for each friendly unit wholly within enemy territory. Add 2 to the roll for Bone Splitters units. For each 4-up, you discover 1 clue about the monster's whereabouts. Keep a tally of how many clues you discover. Once you've discovered 3 or more clues, you can fight the Path to Glory battle using Monster Hunt Battle Plan, and if you win a minor or major victory, you complete the quest, and it has its own rewards, so let's check that one out. And this mission's an interesting one. Essentially, there's the Orruk player, who takes the blue ring here on the outside of the deployment, and in the center is your opponent's army called the Quarry. And the Quarry, they can be from any faction. It's irrelevant, so you can take whatever kind of narrative you want. The only rule that they stipulate is 1 in every 4 units in the Quarry's army must be a monster. And again, we're playing narrative rules where there's not battle line requirement, nothing like that. This supersedes all of that. You're trying to play a narrative mission. 1 in every 4 has to be a monster. Very cool. That's going to be devastating because that means there's how many, monstrous rampages going on. I like it. And really, it really is just a hunting mission. The orcs win if all the monsters are dead. The quarry wins if all the orcs are killed. And the reward is interesting. Basically, any unit that killed a monster immediately ranks up in terms of veteran abilities, which we'll get to in a second. So, like, if they start off with 0 renown, they would rocket up to the next one to get a veteran ability and award. So that's kind of a neat thing. It was just, hey, if you do the kill and blow, you get a little prize for it. And lastly are the veteran abilities. So these are, as you rank up your warriors and keep them in your order of battle, these can be bolted on. They're almost all, if I'm not mistaken, once per battle abilities, and some of these are interesting because they're keyed into specific sub-factions, which I like because that makes them more unique. For the veteran abilities, we have Cunning Plans. This unit can use this veteran ability once per battle at the start of the first battle round when it is picked as the target of an attack in the shooting phase. Very specific. Okay, once per battle, at the first battle round, when it's picked to be shot at. To the end of that phase, only hit rolls of an unmodified 6 score a hit on this unit. Crazy good. It essentially gives them the old 40k version of invisibility. It's only 1 round. It's only for shooting. So, like, if you rush your stuff forward, say pigs for Iron Jaws or like that. This is great for them, right? They don't want to be shot off the board before they can get anywhere. But likewise, it doesn't do anything to melee. It doesn't make them so unfun to fight against. It's one round you don't get to shoot. So I like that. Next one is Dead Choppy. This unit can use its veteran ability once per battle when it's picked to fight in the combat phase. Improve the rend characteristic of that unit's weapons by 1 to the end of the phase. Me as a Bone Splitter player with 30 Savage Orcs with sticks that can, stretch over each other. Yes, please. Next is Bring It On. Unit can only use it once per battle at the end of the enemy charge phase. This unit can attempt a charge. So sort of a counter charge situation. Maybe you can bait a trap where your opponent knows that they're going to annihilate Unit A, but they weren't accounting for the fact that Unit B is now engaged, and now they have to make some hard choices and maybe take some losses they weren't planning on. That's a tricky one. I like it. Backstabbers. This is for Cruel Boys units only. The unit can use its veteran ability once per battle in the combat phase after another friendly unit within 12 of this unit has fought. This unit fights immediately. So that's cool. I mean, a lot of heroes have this ability. I don't think there's a lot of it in Cruel Boys specifically, but like Bone Splitters have a few of these ways to do this. But yeah, once you have one unit go, you can kind of daisy chain reactions to have them go. I like that. It's honestly, it ends up being a very cool ability. Next one is Call That a Crumpin'? Iron Jaws units only. This unit can use this veteran ability once per battle when it's picked to fight in the combat phase, and until the end of that phase, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons used by that unit if the target is an enemy unit that has already been targeted by an attack made by another friendly unit in that phase. That is a mouthful. Why it couldn't just be a copy paste from the one above where it's like add 1 to the attack's characteristic, but only if the target has already been hit at by somebody else. I don't know. I mean, thematically I get it, right? You have 2 Iron Jaws units. One of them hits the enemy and doesn't do much, and the second unit goes, "You call it a crumpin'?" and then shows them how to deliver pain. Like, thematically I get it. Setting it up on the table might be a different story. But then again, +1 to the attack's characteristic of an Iron Jaws unit tends to be pretty gross. So, last one is Shout Down to Magic, Bone Splitters only. You can use this veteran ability once per battle when an enemy wizard within 30 inches of this unit attempts to cast a spell. This unit can attempt to unbind the spell in the same manner as a wizard. Very tame, but I like having it in the pocket. It's just a utility piece. It might not matter a bunch of times. Sometimes it will. It's never going to matter against like Techless Nagash or, those kinds of ones. But in terms of like Soulblight Gravelords where they're pretty average spells and don't necessarily have Nagash there, yeah, I would definitely see value in that. So what's the final verdict? My personal opinion on this is kind of the same with the Stormcast one, is that it's kind of bland. When we look at the Path to Glory rules that have been done for something like Fire Slayers, or even the Deepkin one is great, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, where they have these other cool mechanics. This one feels the most bland because there's so many frickin' factions in this book that there's just no way. There's just no way to make it feel as personal and interesting as the other ones where there's more controlled rosters. In terms of a very surface level understanding of orcs, it does exactly what you expect. They rush forward, they smash stuff. You just get rewarded for smashing different things. Sometimes it's terrain in a certain battle plan. Sometimes it's enemy monsters. But the thing that I'm not really a huge fan of is the fact that they interact uniquely with the order of battle when it comes to their specific territories. But I don't feel like it does a whole lot on the whole. It doesn't feel like a unique army different from matched play, but other factions can. I do think Deepkin, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, even Beasts of Chaos to an extent, they feel different when they're playing Path to Glory, because it feels more like them. Whereas this just kind of feels like and orcs, And I think part of that is early Battle Tome syndrome. Looking now at how they've written rules and interactions and stuff, we can already start to see the power curve between Stormcast and Deepkin and all these other factions. but the earlier ones tend to be more tame, especially when it comes to this kind of crazy narrative stuff. I would have loved a mechanic where you are a war boss and you need to make choices between battles and gaining reputation. So like a trade-off between glory point rewards and adding new units to your roster. I think there was more potential here. And so I'd like to see it kind of come to its fruition. But for right now, it certainly is cool. I love the veteran abilities, to be honest. I like those quite a bit. What else? I like the ability to call a Great Wall at any point, because that way, no matter what you're collecting, you can still use the abilities of the big wall. I think that was a smart win. I wish there was more of that kind of thing, of like, you have to choose a single type of war clan, but there's more ways to access the other things. And in this, as it is, it's just like you pick a war clan, and hey, you can add rival units and they can take command abilities and stuff. And you're like, well, then why not just let me just take all of them? Why can't I just do whatever? I don't know. It just seemed like a very strange way to go about it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you're thinking about it. Are you having a good time? And how do you interpret the territories thing? Like I said, there was a discussion on a live show, and I was a little bit frazzled trying to read the comments, read this, and interpret it. And it was just when 3.0 came out, so I was a bit overwhelmed. But the question was essentially, can you ransack territories that are not on this D66 table that's in here, the 61 through 66. My reading of the rules is that no, you can't, but I know not everybody agrees with that. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to chat with you there. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll catch you in my next Path to Glory review. Happy wargaming.